Hello there everyone, and welcome to another look at ASF behind the scenes. This time me and Eggman over here. Yep, we'll be we'll be covering Bad Blood, which is going to be the first Raw big event that we've covered now. So we've covered everything now, from Smashdown to Joint to Raw, with starting with this one, because of course we don't have Backlash. So that's a big shame, isn't it? Yes, it is. I suppose so. You suppose so. To be honest, I'm glad that got deleted. I don't like that. That's a matter of opinion. It's history, Eggman. It's history. Yeah. Quit living in the past. Alright, so I say let's get things rolling. This event is 1 hour and 23 minutes roundabout, give or take. So let's set things off. That wasn't much of an introduction, really, was it? Well, you're the one doing them. Don't blame me. You're saying, you do the introduction. I guess I have only myself to blame. Again, we'll be playing with no sound. It's the last time I'm going to mention this, so you already know in advance. I've said it on 3 events now. No sound, just us two talking, done in the fashion of a podcast. So you can go and, as long as you can hear us, you can go and do some other things. You don't necessarily need to watch, but you have the option to. But it's only so you know what we're talking about if you are watching. But we'll probably say what's happening, as I said, so you won't need to watch anyway. Unless you know the event off by heart, then you don't need to at all. So yes, once again with our opening that I didn't realise was knocking off TNA at the time, with introducing all the matches at the start of the event. I definitely still wasn't getting very creative with the screens. Well, that's personal preference. What, you like him? I didn't say that. You got the glowing first blood thing there for the match, the world title match. Yes, and I'd also like to point out, yeah, right, it's pretty, isn't it? But I wanted to make it a big deal because I think this was around the time. I think this was probably 2008. This came out. So. Yeah, and this was about the time that WWE was going, no blood, no blood. I think it really got introduced in 2009 though, didn't it? I think so, yeah. I forget exactly when it ended because they were trying to avoid it as much as possible, so it's hard to say when they exactly ended it. On screen anyway. But yeah, I was making a big deal of it. First blood, we're gonna get blood. Even though in this game, once you score first blood, you don't necessarily see the other person bleed very much. So it's not a very enticing match to have on this game. But one needed to be done. Have we had any other first blood matches? I can't recall. I don't think we have. It's been one of those special occasions. And also, I do like to raise the issue of blood. The ASF doesn't always go for the bloody route. Specifically, I tried to, any match involving weapons or some kind of paraphernalia, be it a cage or a Hell in a Cell or whatever, I will, turn the blood. There is an option to turn the blood on and off, so I'll turn the blood on for that case. But you have to avoid matches with robots in it, because obviously robots can't bleed. It'll look a bit stupid if they did. So I'm trying to keep a level of realisticity here. If that's a word. I'm sure it is. Well, thanks for your input. Yeah. So any matches involving robots and weaponry, I can't put the blood on because if the robot gets busted open, that doesn't really make sense. I don't know why they put the metal textures in this game and then have them bleed. It seems a bit stupid, but I guess they didn't think about it at the time. So I have to avoid any matches with robots in to put blood on. I think there have been some accidents where I've accidentally left the first blood option on, or at least a blood option. I'm not a first blood option. I was matches over when I bleeded, but when there's been a robot in, and luckily they haven't bled. But that's only a rare occasion. I cannot think of when that actually happened because obviously it was a mistake, and you don't tend to remember mistakes very much unless they're big, huge ones. And that wasn't really a major accident because the robot didn't get busted open. So I'm like, damn it, I got to restart the match. So yeah, and that's my issue on blood. But I always feel that blood is an integral part of a match that is bloody, or you know, is bloody. You know, it's bloody if it's got blood in it, but if it's dangerous and there's weapons involved, that's why the WWE's Hell in a Cell doesn't work anymore, because there's no blood in it. It's like, well, they're not exactly hurting each other. There's no danger. There's no, because the blood sells the cell, as weird as that me saying. So yeah, even though we don't have any blood in this Hell in a Cell on this show, which is our actual first Hell in a Cell match on the entire show, we haven't had one before, so I was actually looking really forward to calling this one, and you probably were as well. Also I tried to make it as epic as possible to set the set the bar, so to speak. But we've had Retro ASF talking. We've had robots fight in the Hell in a Cell before, and obviously I used to let things fly because they're robots and they can put up with a lot of impactful stuff and everything. So everyone knew that when robots were fighting in the Hell in a Cell, something absolutely mental was going to happen. So I tried to recreate that in this event's match, trying to having various spots in the cell, going into the walls, going through the walls, going through the ceiling, fighting on the roof, going to the announce table, which happens to be near the staging area on this game, in the Raw arenas, just like it used to be, back in 2004 kind of time, which is when this game was made. You know, and also having the announce table spot was good because you can only end the match in the ring. So it was like, yeah, these guys are far away from the ring, so therefore this match is going to continue, which means people are going to enjoy it more and get more out of it, and we're going to have fun calling it. Yeah, thank you for that challenge. Yes. So this is the opening contest, the Hardcore Championship match, which has started. We're a bit delayed because I've been talking about blood and cells and everything. But hey, needs to be mentioned. We're trying to just butt in with anything here. Like we haven't prepared it once again. So this match, opening match, was simply filler. That's all I've got to say about it. Wow. Well, we needed the Hardcore Championship match. I like having all the championships on the line in one event because it's hard to make storylines in this environment, like I said, because you've only got so many voice actors at the time, and you know it's just hard to sell story. And, you know, we can't keep saying this person said so and so when clearly they didn't. So I kind of really, that annoyed me having to do that, because we did do it, and we still do it to this day, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit that we have to, you know, we can't hear the person actually say it. We have to say what they said, you know, and they have in an interview which we haven't seen, and it's a pet peeve for the show for me. I really hate doing it, but it needs to be done in some cases because otherwise there's no storyline whatsoever on the show. Even though I know some people don't like storyline, but you know, I try to have a balance of both. So this was a simple match. There wasn't any. Obviously, they're both Mario characters, and Luigi's has his jealous head on that Wario has the Hardcore Championship. So that was the only background you needed for this match, if anything. And then it was just going to be a one-on-one, weapons included, brawl for all for the title, which is what most championship matches just need to be in some cases, instead of having like a background story. I tried so hard to set up a table spot for this event. because here's Luigi counting the first attempt, and then the finished result was a suplex from the outside through the table. I'm like, yeah, screw you. So yeah, I was trying to set up. I'm probably playing as Wario because the computer doesn't have enough intelligence for some reason to climb up on a table and put people through it unless it's a table match, and even then they resort to putting it in the corner, so they don't need to. Sometimes I think the programming for the AI has never been given programming for climbing on a table and putting someone through it when they set someone on the table in this game, but hey. And also, don't know why the decision was to have punches break the tables, and we have to keep now selling it like they're the exact opposite of Japanese tables. We didn't do that back then, though, mind you. No, it's because it didn't occur to us at that point. Then you said, "Hey, I've got a joke we can use." Hold on 1 second. So yeah, I said, "Hey, there's a joke we can use every time they punch the table. We can make the joke that these tables are the exact opposite of Japanese tables, because Japanese tables never hardly break, even when someone puts them through. You know the joke if you're into your wrestling. But yeah, our tables are exactly the opposite. In some cases, they're not though. Because some moves, actually, I've seen in the game, don't actually hurt the table at all. And there are some bizarre moves in this game which do actually break the table. Amazingly enough, I found out, Eggman, that an airplane spin breaks a table in this game. Oh my god. An airplane, what, and then they throw them off it? No, they just put them down, you know, they're all dazed and confused, you know. Okay, then. And that breaks a table. I'd like to see that. Can you show me that? You never told me that up until this point. Well, now you know. we might do one with Kana. Who knows? But yeah, because she's got the airplane spin. Yeah. So look out for that when the ASF comes back in April, guys. Well, we're going to put Kana in a tables match, and you'll know. You're going to see a there's the table spot suplex for the outside. You're going to see an airplane spin through the table, and you're going to LOL your face off. I certainly will. I'm already laughing at the inside at the premise of seeing that. That sounds a bit weird. I might show you after this, just me and you. Just me and you. No thanks. You said that too seductively. So the other thing I was going to say about First Blood that's just occurred to me is, like I said, it's not very dramatic in this game when you do win. So this World Championship match is not the main event. It was originally going to be the main event, but then I said, this is not good enough to be the main event. Especially when we got a big, huge ladder match in this, and a big, huge Hell in a Cell to top it off. And it's nothing compared to the World Title match, so best just put the World Title match before all that, and then we can say, belts defended, let's move on. To the better stuff. So that's the reason why, I think it's the third match of the night. There's only 6 in total. But yeah, and then we had the bonus match in between the ladder and the Hell in a Cell, which is the submission match that we kicked off between Samus and Tikal, which didn't grab a lot of attention, so I assume. I don't know if anyone likes that rivalry or not. We didn't really put much effort into it. Like I said, it was a bonus match. We just needed something between the big, huge ladder match and the big, huge Hell in a Cell, so we could talk about the ladder match and what just happened in it, and build up more of the Hell in a Cell coming up after it. So that was what that match was for, the submission match between Samus and I just thought, well, we can make this into a little rivalry, seeing as those two are not going to see a lot of action, seeing as there's no Women's Championship on Raw. It's all on SmackDown at the moment. So I needed those two to just have something. Because I try and make this show as broad as possible and shove everyone I can into it and make them important, and so people can see them. You know, and whatever. So we can say this is our roster and we're using it, and instead of saying this is our roster and we're only going to use a little bit of it. Just try and capitalize on the roster that we have and use it to the maximum potential so we can have more stuff going on. And slowly make it all build up into something good. Even though Samus and Tikal didn't actually do that. That was more like a... Because I had a voting thing, because they had a best of 3. They had another match on Raw, and then they had the final match on SmackDown. Here's Warrior retaining the Hardcore Championship. He doesn't lose that until No Mercy, I believe. Or is it... I can't remember. I think it is around that time, or Survivor Series. We'll wait and see. I'll have to look at the results. I can't remember my own show sometimes. That's bad. That is bad. Train up, you. I've just got too much to remember, and like I said, this is 2008. So trying to remember shows that you've done personally, that just it takes too long. It may come to me when he does lose the Hardcore title. I don't think it actually matters. Just filling up my drink there, in case anyone's wondering what I'm doing. So yeah, what were we talking about? Females. Oh yeah. I had a voting thing for Summer Strike. You remember that? Yes, I do. Who can forget? Probably a lot of people. This was back when we had a smaller fan base than we do now. When I only had a few subscribers, or well, I say a few. I probably had it was probably in double digits somewhere, but it wasn't that many. Didn't start picking up until after that, and then it was like, what do you want to see? Tikal and Samus face off in their third encounter match, and I forget what the options were, but the voting fell down into a cage match, and we didn't have many votes at all. So in some cases I actually had to fake the votes and just say, well, this was the one that was most voted out of all the people, out of the dozen of people that voted. So yeah. So I'll just make it look more impressive, as if more people did it. Yay! Was that the case with ASIF? No, that was not the case with ASIF. We got a lot of votes for that. I think I said on the event how many votes we got for that. So I was it was way more compared to this Tikal Samus thing at Summer Strike, but there you go. We're getting ahead of ourselves. That's 2 events away, Eggman. Well, you're the one talking about it. You should have stopped me. So this is next up, the Intercontinental Championship match. We're having all 3 championship matches in a row, it would seem, and then the rest just comes later because it's much more important. I don't know why. I guess it's just because of the quality of the matches and the importance of each championship. So Hardcore, Intercontinental, and World makes sense. Just like I said, the World Championship match wasn't living up to the hype of the ladder match and the Hell in a Cell we had going on. So, this was a gimmick-encrusted match, so much so I wanted to, put the Extreme Rules label on it, but I didn't bother in the end, but I think that's what we ended up calling it anyway. And we just went with it, because sod it. So, yeah, a gimmick match was needed between these two, between Link and Chaos, because they'd already fought a King of the Ring, like we've seen already. And this is where Chaos wins the Intercontinental Championship. So, yes. I was thinking, what's a good match? Because there's not a lot of availability for matches, and I want to space things out. Obviously, we can't have a last man standing match. That was in the previous event. We can't have a no holds barred match. That's in the next event. Or an Extreme Rules match. That's in the next event, which is Vengeance. So we can't have those kind of matches. So let's go for the KO, different stipulation, something more fun to call, when's the first person to get knocked out. So it kind of makes sense. Link knocks out big monsters, and Chaos is good at knocking people out. I think we were doing that as a little storyline. Like Chaos was KOing people everywhere and just maiming in general. So yeah, KO match. We stuck with. Well, I say KOing. I mean KOing as in like not literally knocking them out in game, but he was knocking them out. He was being a bit mad. So yeah, and the clothesline from hell, which Chaos has, is a nice knockout move. So yeah, there's another one, and there's the victory. Yeah, these matches go very quickly, mind you, as well. That's another thing. Oh, speaking of quickly, it's part 3 coming up next. So yeah. So there was definitely some weird matches with some odd stipulations going on. We couldn't. It wasn't exactly epic, I can say. So I wasn't very happy with those, but they needed to be done at the end of the time. In terms of pacing matches, I didn't want repeats of previous big events happening when it came to certain different matches. So best to get the rubbish ones out of the way, and then we can focus on the better ones. We've had KO matches since. I think Mario had one with Metal Knuckles that was actually pretty good. And then, so yeah. I think that was the last KO match we ever had, but it turned out pretty well, so who knows, might do another one. You just need tougher people, I suppose, because Link and Chaos probably didn't have enough attributes at the time. That's one thing I'd say is in this game you can't take away a character's attributes. You can only add once you finalize them. So people have been improving ever since I've started the show in their stats. Like they've gone up little by little every so often. But that's out of my decision. It doesn't do that automatically. But I was just saying, well, these matches need to become a bit more epic. So let's give you a little bit more stats, and you a little bit more stats, and she can have a little bit more stats, or whatever. And they're just growing and growing and growing until soon they're all going to become unstoppable monsters, and we'll have some great matchups. Even if we do have some great matchups here and now, they're not as good as the quality as the current ones we're pumping out because their stats have gone up so high that it's hard to beat them straight up instantly. So that's kind of good because that provides longevity in the matches, and really puts the emphasis of wow, they kicked out of all these finishers and stuff, which is makes a good match on this game. That's one. Like I said, I'm going to gripe about the more recent games, more recent wrestling games. Trailing from this game is it was always just 2 finishes or something, and then there was a pinfall, and then they'd win, regardless. But with this game, because you've got the adrenaline meter. And that can sway the match in your favour. So if someone gets pinned after a finisher and they're in orange kind of red area instead of being in green and blue, then they tend to have a habit of kicking out more. So you can make those epic moments of people kicking out. And also what affects them is if you don't pin them immediately, then they have that recover time in this game, and then they will kick out. Sometimes you may see me like do a taunt after a finisher, like saying, yeah, this is over, but that's only to simply say this person has a chance now of kicking out. Usually they do, but sometimes they don't. I don't know if I've stuck any ones in the actual show with that result. Depends on how long the match was at that time, in terms of, because sometimes I beg for some matches just to frickin' end because they've been going on for so long. So it just depends on the length, and if the pinfall was right and the moment was right, then I'll just leave it. So here we are with our World Championship match already, here on part 3. Like I said, it's not the greatest match ever. But obviously the rivalry continues between these two. And I wanted... First Blood made a lot of sense because I wanted to... these two wanted their mind, body and soul, so to speak. I think that's the term. It is just in the wrong context, right? But yeah, so the first blood was perfect for these two. They could both bleed. And I just wanted to have Bart as this really powerful heel character that was got away with a lot of stuff, because he does, you know, on The Simpsons or whatever, in his universe. And Shadow is a guy that can bring it, so it made sense that he should be able to bleed. And Shadow has bled a lot in this show. It's just you know, because he's that kind of character that, you know, if you saw him in a Sonic game, you know, they've given him guns already, so just to make him like bleed from his forehead or something, you can just picture that, can't you? I don't know about you, but I can't. Well, maybe that's just me then, but I can picture that happening. Just and people going, whoa, Shadow's bleeding. So that's kind of like something I'd like to happen in universe, even though many of the fan base would probably go, oh, you've ruined the Sonic franchise forever. But hey, with every Sonic game that comes out, the franchise is ruined forever, but people still buy the fucking games. So, including me. Well, I complain about them and then I don't buy them. So I have bought the more recent ones, of course. But that's only because they look new and refreshing, and I hated Sonic Lost World. But that's another rant for another time. So I'm never buying another mainstream Sonic game for a long time. But Sonic Boom is proving to be good. Ish. On certain moments. I'm enjoying it more than I was Lost World, and I'm actually going to get to the end of that. But hey, you don't want to listen to that, because that's just me. Personal life, you want to know more about the show. So it's kind of hard to pace this first blood match, because number one, you don't know when the actual bleeding is going to happen. It is kind of hard to make people bleed in this game. You really got to work on the face. Do a lot of facial attacks and head attacks. So that's what I was trying to do, more or less. But I was also trying to do other stuff instead of trying to go for the head. My original idea was to play as Shadow, and then hopefully Bart does something that makes me bleed in order to retain. And then I just pace out the match by doing other things, and then going for the face every now and then. Hopefully not doing the cut, but then I thought, well, that's going to be a bit too hard, so I just went with Bart and tried to bust Shadow open on the every so occasion that I got. Oh, there we go. Speaking of which, that didn't take that long, but it was long enough. Like I said, didn't match up to the other two matches that are coming up. So I think a lot of people liked this event. I think this is the only event actually which I done like a highlight video of. With all the crazy things going on the show. And most of it was ladder match and Hell in a Cell highlights, but there was some other highlights or moments you could put in throughout this show, but it just didn't feel good to me. Yeah, it did seem a bit slow at the beginning because of all these instant win victory things that you can't really build up. Certainly we can hype it and, you know, talk about it and say, you know, this could happen and it's going to happen at any time, but that's all you can actually say. It's like there's not much else you can go on when it comes to those kind of matches, so you kind of pin back to the wall. So that was a good challenge for both of us, I think, when it came to talking about, you know, just the matches. Yeah. Anyway, we're going off track here, aren't we? We are? I didn't think so. Okay, we're not going off track. We don't prepare for these things at all, do we? Nope, but I feel like that's the best way, because that's how the truth comes out, instead of just saying, oh, we'll plan to say this at this moment. So I guess that's why we are doing it a bit unknowing what's going to happen, because any one of us could say something. One moment. So any one of us could blurt something out, you know, and the other person has no control over it whatsoever. Yes, Glenn. Don't say my real name. Don't say my real name, David. Well, I asked for that, I suppose. Oh well. Ah, here comes Star. Oh yes, because this is to introduce the two other opponents, because we actually build this as just Knuckles and Mandy to support that storyline still going on. Lo and behold, and then they jump over, and then Mandy comes over to Raw, and we continue it some more. So that was a nice rivalry, building those two up at the same time, and making them both look strong at once. And so the best way to make them look strong here was to say, well, let's bring some more opponents in. Let's make it a proper Money in the Bank ladder match, and we've got some filler characters. We've got a monster heel called Nightmare, and we've got a character I don't use very much because I'm running out of ideas for him in the Games Guru. I'm running out of ideas for him already, you know. So put those two into the match. It's fine, and then Mandy and Knuckles still looks strong. Knuckles retains the Money in the Bank, and Mandy still looks powerful because she wasn't expecting these two other opponents. So it's all looking good. We got two characters that probably no one cares about and we don't care about, so stick them in. I think that we got more Nightmare fans though as we went along. But probably at this stage there wasn't many people supporting Nightmare or wanting him to do anything. But I've seen some people say, you know, Nightmare should be the world champ and stuff, you know. So, or the YouTube champ, you know, because he's on SmackDown now. But you know, we have advertised the fact that he wants to be like a champion in storyline terms. Oh, this is where he changes. Oh, it's not recent. I didn't think it was this recent. I thought it was when he made the jump over to SmackDown after the draft. But here is more modern Nightmare now. We had Red Nightmare on King of the Ring. But here he is in his updated look. So, yeah, it was this early. There we go. Forgot all about it. Yeah, well, as I was saying with the King of the Ring thing, it's nice to see changes in the characters because then you can see the show progressing, and you know, this was back then and they looked like that, and this is now, and it can separate the two, and so you know when you're watching it, is this the old show or is this the newer show? You know, it kind of separates the two and makes the show look like it's evolving as you go, with new looks to people as you go up and up and up through the show. So I approve of people changing their appearance, or at least the color of what they look like or whatever. You know, in this case, Nightmare's armor changing. Just changing color, so to make him look more new and updated, and make the show look like it's going forward in time, rather than sticking to what we know and what we've been sticking to. Well, what am I trying to say? just making the show look like it's progressing, in other words, instead of just being the same old appearance and looks and everything. So it just shows that we're growing and finding new looks for people, and you know, sometimes we might like an appearance that we'll just stick with it because we haven't changed Nightmare since this point. No, we haven't. There's a lot of characters we haven't even touched at all, but there's some characters we have changed and said, that looks like a good look, we're just going to stick with that. I think I'm satisfied now with how Void looks. I think we've done all we can with Void, in terms of how he looks and stuff. So yeah. So did Star contribute at all to this event at all? Because she said she had some useful input. I'm trying to recall now. I mean, she didn't have much, and if she did, I changed it, you know, to be more suitable. But she'd throw ideas at me, even if they weren't good. But like I said, I would change them, or sometimes they were good. But in terms of this event, I am not 100% sure, because she's not necessarily a wrestling person or a wrestling fan. But she was getting into the show, certainly when you know, seeing what we were doing and everything, and you know, finding it a lot of fun. I mean, she's a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan herself, so I seem to acquire a lot of those. But hey, I'm a fan of the characters, so that's what I keep saying, and that's what I am. So no wonder I keep on bashing into them. So yeah, ideas. Let's see. I think she said that Wario should face Luigi because we were running out of people to use, and I said, "Who do you want to face Wario?" She just said, "How about Luigi? Makes sense." And I'm like, "Yeah, it does because of the jealousy thing." Yeah, okay, then we'll do that. So there you go. Star's input was Luigi in the Hardcore Championship match. Okay then, is that it? Yeah, I think that was it. Because most of this stuff was me or you, or actually most of this was me. I don't think you came up with any of. Well, we both came up with this premise of having 2 extra people in the Money in the Bank, just to defend, to protect Mandy and Knuckles and their current storyline. Because this rivalry is not over yet. Because of course Knuckles is the surprise participant for Vengeance in the Tag Team Championship match. And on further actually remembering, the tag team titles do not change hands then, because I cannot remember Knuckles and Tails defending. I think Tails won them with Manic in the end on one of the TV shows, because we realised that Mandy was going to be moving over to Raw, or at least there was a hint that she was going to be moving over to Raw. Yeah. So we needed her to lose the tag titles because the tag titles were staying on SmackDown, and we didn't want them to move over because there was a lot of tag teams in SmackDown, or we were gonna have a lot of tag teams move over to SmackDown and potential tag teams. So we didn't want that opportunity to waste, and we wanted the Women's Championship match to go over. But we'll talk about that when the draft comes up. So that's things to come up. About what is that? 3 events away. Yeah, about 3 events away. So yeah, so a lot of matches in this game. Definitely one of the more fun and entertaining matches that we ever put on, and certainly everyone agrees with that. Either be it tag team or fatal 4-way, we've always had good ladder matches. One-on-one ladder matches not so good because they're really hard to pull off. Because once the computer knocks you off the ladder, they tend to have a habit of climbing the ladder and winning the match. Therefore, it being rather crap. I'm going to try. I try and have to pace ladder matches out that are one-on-one by doing just tricks with the ladder, like placing people on the ladder from the top rope or some other kind of thing I can think of creatively to make the match that much more like, oof, that was a good match. Ironically enough, TLC matches are better than ladder matches when it comes to one-on-one situations, and vice versa. The more people you have in a ladder match, it's better, but the more people you have in a TLC match, it's actually worse, because you don't get enough opportunity to make table spots or anything, or like that. You don't get to introduce the other weaponry as well as you'd love to, unless it's a one-on-one situation. So, TLC matches are better done one-on-one, and ladder matches are better done with more people. That's the lesson we all learned doing this. And I'm hoping right now that someone's going to get me, but I'm not going to reach for the championship just yet, or the briefcase in this example, even though the target object is should be a briefcase, but we can't put that in the game. So yeah, I think we were trying to talk about Games Guru having Money in the Bank and Nightmare having money. I think this might have actually been the introduction to when we started having Nightmare be the guy who wanted to be a champion. So this that was after this match, because it's like, why would he want to be in it otherwise? It's like, because he wants to be a champion, and that's when we started pushing that envelope, but never living up to it, to disappoint all the fans. Not that we wanted to, but it just didn't go with the current situations that we were having. So because we try and plan a lot in advance, so fan feedback is nice, like we said, because we'll try and fit things in that we can, that people can say they want. Hold on. so people can say what they want, and we'll try and fit it into the show as best we can, to satisfy those. But in terms of, we always plan long term. I mean, look at this. We're already building Mandy and Knuckles up, who are currently, being. Well, Knuckles certainly is being a big time person. It was kind of like a hit in the dark with Mandy if that was going to go, and obviously I was accepting. I was expecting bad reception from that, as you would, but I just wanted to do it. Like I said, I needed something new and something that's never been done in wrestling, always. So then we can actually say that anything can happen in this show, because it does. we have females winning major championships. But getting there is a tough task, and even when we got there, it was, I don't know what to say about it. Just, I'm happy I did it, and at the same time, I don't know. Just not. It wasn't expecting what I wanted it to be, but hey. We had Lisa be the champion as well. I was going to bring that up. I thought you might. I beat you to it. But yeah, that was a big shocker, and I thought, well, this is going to be a good introduction to get people on to believe that Mandy's going to win, and which she did. We're talking about ASIF stuff, so that'll have to wait for the story of how that all went, and when that comes to it. Which is a long way away, but we'll get there eventually, within this month or next month. So we haven't got that long to wait for how I was doing things for ASIF, because it's a lot of twisting tails, that's for sure. Was that a pun? No, nothing to do with tails. Nothing whatsoever. So yeah, this is our first really long match, and I was saying, well, the other three matches now don't mean very much, because practically we've forgotten them at this stage, because this match is so long, and But yeah, of course this match was going to be long. These matches always are, and they're really hard to win and everything. So what else can we discuss while this match goes on? You can talk about finishing moves. What about them? Well, I tell you what, before you do the finishing moves thing, you can go ahead and plug the one night only event. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We can do that, folks. I am going to keep talking about this on every single event because it needs to be said. But yeah, we are doing another one night only show in January before the relaunch in April. It'll be airing the same time as the WWE does the Royal Rumble in January. Voting closes at the end of this year, and I forgot to put a link in the description for some people on the King of the Ring one, so I'll definitely remember to put it in this time. Yeah, that you do that. That's a good idea. Instead of saying, I'll put it in the description, then you don't. Yeah, so I will put the link definitely in the description about the ASF One Night Only event that you can vote for next. You can vote for the stipulation or the theme of the event and a bonus thing on top of that. And voting closes at the end of this year, so that I can make the damn thing in time for when we do have the Royal Rumble coming up for the WWE in that case, in that sense. So yeah, get your votes in. Vote anywhere. I don't care where. Vote in the comments, vote in PM section, send me a PM on the forum, send me a message anywhere on the forum. Just let me know what you want. The ASF was always about the fan base. Like I said, if you saw the King of the Ring one, it's pretty much why the ASF exists, is because of our fans. As much as I never always say that, I always say, I would still be doing this show if there was no support, but, in a sense, I still would be doing this show in a way, because I just want to make wrestling shows at the end of the day. But yeah, this event does show... Is the picture quality suddenly going bad? What gives? Okay, that's better. I fixed it, don't worry. panic over. I don't know how long that was lasting for. I think I only just noticed it. Never mind. Sorry about that, folks, if that was lasting for a very long time. So yeah, one night only, get voting. Voting closes at the end of the year. We'll have it at the Royal Rumble. Same time, right here on this channel. Voila! So yeah, finishing moves for the characters we were going to talk about. More specifically, I'm guessing why I gave characters different, why they gave them their finishing moves. Yes. Well, I can easily start off with Mandy and go, well, the holding claw on the face. It just looks like, you know, she's that kind of person that would have evil powers thanks to Grimm and would suck your brains out, so to speak. So you know, and control you and stuff, because she'd like to do that. That kind of, so that was the deciding move for that maneuver. Knuckles has the F5 because I was running out of finishing moves. Sonic has the rock bottom because he's kind of like, he is a rock persona. He's an early heel rock persona, I kind of see him as. And he also has that comical side to him nowadays, which the Rock certainly has as well. So that finishing move just makes sense. And also, it is actually an on top of move, because I thought the People's Elbow looks like a move that Sonic would do because it involves running. So I gave him the People's Elbow and I just said, well, let's just go the hold, fill, tilt and turn him into the Rock kind of character, and I give him a rock bottom. So that was that decision. And then, what else we got? Nightmare's got the jackhammer because he's a monster, and the jackhammer is a very powerful finishing move. And also he's got two brain busters because one is enough, but two, one after the other, that had to be given to someone, and I definitely picked Nightmare for that. The Games Guru here has the Unprettier maneuver. I don't know why I gave him that, but hey, there you go. I guess it was just to coincide with his music at the end of the day. Some finishes I didn't actually think through of why I gave them to that character, but some I did actually think through, like Sonic, like Mandy. Who else did I think through? Tails I did actually think through. He was kind of like that person to fly. So, and that with the angle slam can be tweaked to could be called the techno slam because he's a gadget kind of guy, and also the RKO. I can picture him like waving the tails around in a circle while he's jumping up in the air to deliver it, and slamming down. So yeah, so that was the reason for that move. Anyone else on a creative level I can think of giving finishers to? Metal Sonic definitely had that like evil Sonic persona, so therefore it had to have like an Undertaker kind of thing, which automatically gave him a last ride and a tombstone and a choke slam and everything like that. Same with Metal Knuckles, because they were like the evil brothers, so it made sense that they have both Undertaker and kind of Kane kind of personas, and give them the tombstone and the choke slam and stuff. So that was the reasoning behind that. Anyone else? Who else have we got on the roster? Astaroth. Astaroth has the Astaroth bomb, or in this case the sit-down power bomb, like the Batista bomb thing. He has that because he actually has that in the Soul Calibur 2 game as the grapple move. He does a sit-down kind of power bomb move. So that's why I gave Astaroth the sit-down power bomb, because he actually has it in the frigging game. So that's his finisher, and that's the very reason why it's his finisher. And then the other power bomb just came by, the one where he kind of picks him up and then just chucks him down and stands on top of them. I only did that because it makes him look like, you know, we're macho, big, impressive. I'm going to just stand on top of you and completely own you while you're in this power bomb spike position. So yeah, that was a nice additional one finisher to give him. To top it all off, we're just calling Astaroth the Powerbomb King. So yeah, that gave him that persona. So that's the reason why Astaroth has his finisher. Anyone else I can think of? Oh, there goes the video again. I'm trying to remember other people's finishers now, as this match progresses. We've only got half an hour left, Eggman. Isn't that great? What is that supposed to imply? It's supposed to imply that we're off the hook in about half an hour. It feels like we've been talking for centuries, but that's only because we've done the other two. Speak for yourself. Yeah, because you're not talking very much. You're just listening to me like everyone else. Because I know the ins and outs of everything, and you're just here to put additional input in, which you are doing. I congratulate you on that. Thanks. Your medal's in the post, you know. Anyone else you can think of for the finishing move thing? Finishing moves. Who else have we got? Amy's got the scissors kick from Booker T, because I kind of picture her doing that kind of move with her legs. I don't know why I was trying to think of Amy's legs when coming up with that finisher, but I did. That was the young you. This is the old you. Yeah. We don't think alike. In some cases we do, but not all the time. Like I said, I had a subconscious touch with the female clothing. We've already talked about that, so I need to talk about it again. So yes, Amy's got the scissors kick, or as we call it, the passion kick. Because it's kind of like she was hitting someone with a hammer, you know. Tikal has the neck breaker from Gold Dust, the curtain call thing. Gave her that because it's kind of like a very weird neck breaker, and it's like she's summoning the gods as she does it. Hence why we call it the godly neck breaker. So that's that decision for that one. Samus has the like a fisherman suplex into a pin. It's like a capture suplex, and that's what Samus does. She's a bounty hunter, and she captures things. So I thought, I have a finishing move that's the fisherman suplex into a pin, the capture suplex, and yeah, and we can call it the bounty plex. It's got a nice ring to it. And then later on came the Metroid Meteor, which is that very nice high angle neck breaker that I think was introduced by Randy Orton of all people. So that's a nice maneuver to stick in the game and onto someone. Hence why Samus has it, and it's a very nice finishing move to have. Even though it's not classified as a finishing move, but hey, it does its job. There's Nightmare tumbling outside of the ring. We don't get a lot of those spots, and it's always a hit and miss with if they're going to fall out the ring or not. But it's always good if they do, because it just sells the match more, and it's like, well, they fell all the way out to the outside. I don't think you can do that in the more recent games, ironically enough. So yeah, unless you intentionally put the ladder and climb up it near the ropes, it doesn't happen. But it can happen in the middle of the ring here. It just depends if the computer actually feels like it, or if the game actually feels like doing it. So, any other people I can think of for finishing moves that obviously there's a ton, because we've got a big roster, or a fairly big roster. I've got to remember everyone, every single person. Rouge obviously has Rob Van Dam's Van Dominator, because it's kicking at the end of the day, and that's what Rouge does. She kicks. I was going to originally have Knuckles with a punching like maneuver, but that kind of said, well, it's not really going to work, is it? I gave him I gave him like an underhook clothesline that kind of worked, but I don't really like punching moves as finishers, because that's a bit stupid. So yes, I do hate the Big Show's knockout punch, and I do hate the fact that Roman Reigns has a punch as a finishing move. It's a bit stupid in my view. See, I keep up with today's wrestling, but I just don't watch it. So I never really like a punching move as a finisher, so I'm not going to go against my word. So Knuckles is not going to have a punching finisher. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying. Getting your words muddled up, as always. Yeah. So no way is that going to happen. Anyone else I can think of right off the bat? Chaos. Well, we got the Chaos Control Bomb. Shadow. Oh God. Well, the pedigree, because he's like the ultimate life form. So let's call it the ultimate pedigree. I kind of figured that would be like a good finishing move to give him, and a name for it. And also, obviously he's got a spear, as in a Chaos Spear, and. Like we said, the current new finishing moves that he has, which is the additional ones, which is the Exploder Suplex from the Irish Whip rebound, which is the Chaos Reactor. It's just a nice big finishing move, and you recommended that move because you said that would look awesome done on you. I didn't recommend it. I just said that would look good on me because you were just looking for a really powerful comeback finisher. And you just said, "How's this look?" And I said that would look really good being done on me. So yeah, I guess I kind of suggested it, but you were just throwing the idea out there, so you came up with the original idea to have that move as the finisher, and then I just approved it. So yeah. So, and also the figure 4, because I want more people to be submission like, just because it's a nice way to earn a victory is by getting someone to tap out always. Does Shadow have any other finishes? I don't think he does, because he has a truckload. No, I think that's it. Yeah. You've also given him a jackhammer, I think. Yes, I have, but that's only as a standard move, and I usually only use that under terms of desperation to sell the fact that Shadow's getting a bit desperate, therefore doing a jackhammer. I thought he looks like a character that could be able to pull off something like that. Like I said, he's a tough-looking son of a gun. There was the gun Joker pun as well, seeing as you said he was carrying guns. No. That was just slip of the tongue. I don't want to bang about this forever, but there's probably more people out there that the reason they have their finishing move is because of certain things. Grim has the reverse jumping tombstone because he needs a cool looking move, because he's a cool looking person and guy and talks like a cool guy, and even though probably unless you've watched the show no one's ever heard him talk. He's Jamaican, so there we go. That's a pretty cool accent, I say. Jamaican. So he needs a very cool finishing move to go along with that, and the tombstone is not good enough, so we'll give him the backwards jumping one to be even more evil. And Knuckles finally wins the Money in the Bank back for the second time. I think we did have another match where he had to retain it, but yeah, he's retained it again. Because I really needed to point out the fact that Knuckles still has the damn thing, because it becomes forgotten after this, in a way, even though you see it every time he comes out of the ring with the little name display. But we never actually did anything with the Money in the Bank after this. It was just, here's the bonus match, ta-da! Comes out in big bold letters in an explosion, boom! Lo and behold, it's not very good. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of saying how bad the show is. Well, like you said, anything could slip out, and this is all personal opinion. It wasn't planned. So yeah, well, on that front, it's all good. I suppose. Now you know how I truly feel about my own product. At least I know it's bad, because at least I know it's bad, so therefore I can improve upon and learn from mistakes. I have. Saying that wasn't as good as I was intending to do, let's go a little bit better. So unlike someone else who thinks they are with the times and are clearly not, and are not learning from their terrible onslaught of mistakes. Well, that's another story for another day, which we'll talk about never again on this show, unless it comes up. It's bound to. It's bound to, and you know it. Yeah, probably is. Just a good time to end it there. So yeah, here comes the beginning of the disaster rivalry. Certainly one of the least bit interesting for everyone. I didn't get many votes for the final match, and this match was really just a gap between the two big matches. So yeah. So there's not much to talk about. So back to the finishing moves. There isn't really much else we can talk about in the space of that. So yeah, we got some stuff to talk about the Hell in a Cell, I suppose. Even though I've technically already talked the majority about it, we are going to slowly run out of things to talk about as these shows progress, or as not as they progress, but as they drag on. Because it's amazing how much one can cover. Just keep talking, okay. But I'm not talking about as the show progresses as we go further on, because there are stories to tell which definitely need to be told, and they will be when the time comes, when the time is right. But at this stage there wasn't much going on. Vengeance will certainly have a story for you, or a few of them. So I hope you're looking forward to those. So they'll be coming up next weekend on Sunday, just to get the next time of the show out there. You just try and fit in everything, won't you? Yeah. So these two haven't become necessarily. We're talking about Tikal and Samus. They're not really important factors in the show, or never have been, essentially. I mean, Samus was in that really good storyline with Grimm, who was actually not my idea, might I add. So we'll talk about that when the time comes, when she goes over to Smashdown. And Tikal has been in that thing with in the giant swerve at Armageddon, the heel turn, so to speak. Then it kind of lost heat after that, or lost momentum. I don't know why that was. I guess I wasn't just that focused on it, but hey, well, we all make mistakes. So these two haven't become major big impacts in the ASF, but they've been an integral part of it. Because like I said, it's better to stick them around, because we know that they may have future potential, and we can use them for future potential. But any person that I've got rid of on the show, that being the Games Guru and Spider-Man, I haven't seen a future for them, and I've really said I really can't foresee any kind of storyline with the characters we currently have in the future. So therefore we'll just get rid of them and replace them with people that we actually know we can put into the storylines and stuff, and which we have, and we've stuck with it ever since changing that around. So that's all good. In terms of longevity of the show and new creative ways to make matches and new matches and stuff. So always trying to think about that, one step ahead of the game, or trying to stick with what we got and trying to utilize them as best we can. Like I said, if it's better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them. But I definitely won't be needing Spider-Man or the Games Guru for sure anymore. I don't think anyone else was really behind them. Someone recommended to me to put Spider-Man in, and I'm like, yeah, he's been in video games, I suppose I can put him in. So, but yeah, still, it wasn't my and the design for Spider-Man was just dreadful. So. Yeah, I'm not sure a lot of people approved of the design. They said he looks a bit stupid. Yeah, so that's the other reason. Even though it's got a Spider-Man texture in-game, he still didn't look like he fitted anywhere. That's why I didn't use him much, but I still put him on the show. Like I said, I will do things for people on the show as best I can. In this case, I did put Spider-Man in. That was a whole new person. But you'd be amazed at how many people have said, put this person in, and this person in, and this person. And some of these people I don't even know, or some of these people are just from other core leagues that are on YouTube, or they're not from video games. And the policy for the ASF is they've had to have appeared in a video game. I know I may be going against the rules on some of the characters, but it's only because those characters are, in the case of Manic, Manic has only appeared in the TV show of Sonic Underground, but he's the brother for Sonic. So if ever we wanted to do a family storyline, we've got Manic and we've got Sonya to support Manic, and on top of that, so that's why those two are in. Because like I said, we're quite limited with families that we have. We've only got the Simpsons family technically, and they've obviously been in video games. The only other exception, but that's only because that was a recommendation of someone that I know that currently is working with the show. Said they wanted Scourge in, so I put Scourge in, and now he's part of the roster. I only intended him to be small time, but then I thought, hey, hang on a minute, I can do a storyline with him. Let's do the storyline with him and give something for Sonic to do. And everyone probably knows what I'm talking about there, with the whole Scourge and Sonic thing. Because it's a comic book rivalry come to life, in essence. So that's kind of unique, and I was mesmerized by Scourge's character in the comics, because of course I didn't get much of a chance to read the comics because they're over in the States, but they don't come out over here. But for the stuff that I have seen from this person that's shown me, I really do like Scourge as a character, and he fits in the wrestling universe quite well, and I might keep him around for longer, who knows. But at the moment he's only sticking around for this Sonic storyline. So yeah. And that's his sole purpose of being. So now you know why Scourge is in. Any other characters I can think of that are necessary? Obviously, authority figures don't matter, because authority figures can be authority figures, and you don't have to know who they are. They're just the people in control, because no one knows who I am. I'm not in a video game, and no one knows who Cyrus is. He's not in a video game, and Star is not in a video game, and Connor's not in a video game, and Kanina's not in a video game in terms of our ring announcer now. And interview person. We've got 2 more interview people debuting, actually. That'll be on the show coming up in April. We've got an interview person for SmackDown and an interview person for Raw. So that's something for you to all look forward to. And they're not from a video game. So in that sense, then they don't need to be in a video game. It's just a bonus if they are. But they don't necessarily have to be. There have been other people that wanted to say, I want to become the general manager or whatever and take over the new position, which I had to have an ordeal with when Star left. I was throwing the boat open there. Who wants to become the person on screen in charge of the show? Because as much as you think that the on-screen general managers are the people who run the show, and then all their ideas go through me. I do all the ideas, and then they can suggest stuff, and I'll say, yeah, we can possibly do that, or we can change this out of your idea that you've given me. They're just there to give me input, simply. Because like I said, I don't want to stick to what I know. I want to have other people's input as well, and then I can change it or fix it or just leave it as it is. So that's what they're there for. They don't run the entire show. So they don't come up with any of their own ideas unless, of course, they do, which of course we'll mention. You failed to mention the Star mentioned Luigi though for the hardcore title. Well, that's what you're here to remind me for. Because I might get carried away with myself. That's what I'm here for. That's my job, folks. It's brilliant, isn't it? So yeah, I'm trying to think of other people that haven't appeared in a video game that are on the show, but I don't think I can think of any. Whoop. Oh, hang on a minute. Whoa, we're missing a part. Hang on a minute. Okay, I'm gonna have to apologise about that. I'm gonna have to skip ahead of the show because part 8 does not seem to be compatible with playing on here. I don't know what the reason for that is. I can't check up on anything because we're in mid-recording, so I can't really do much about that. So I guess we're jumping straight into this, so that's all good. I'll try and fix that. Nah, it won't be worth it because I won't have enough time to save all this because it's huge enough. It takes forever to save hour-long stuff, let alone more than an hour. So we can just jump straight into talking about the Hell in a Cell. What were we talking about before? It doesn't matter. You've been fussing too much, and I haven't remembered. Oh well. So we can't talk about this Hell in a Cell match. Obviously, the story, the foundation story for this was talking about the, forgetting stuff. The foundation for this build up was when Metal won the title, and then he had his match with Metal Knuckles. And then Metal Knuckles won the title off of him. The storyline was that Metal Sonic was going to help his brother defend the title, hence why we had a tag team match at Backlash inside the cage, and we all know how that went. I was going to do a double turn. For those two. And Shadow was Bart was gonna turn on Shadow, and in turn, Metal Sonic was gonna turn on Metal Knuckles, because that was his plan all along to cost him the championship in the end. That was it. But then I thought it's kind of gonna be hard to do that in that environment. So we'll just stick with Metal Knuckles saying you didn't help me defend the championship, so I'm ending this relationship. And it just grew from there. And then we had all this build up. I tried to avoid a clash between these two at King of the Ring. I didn't want them to be in a King of the Ring match in the tournament. Because I wanted this big build up to see these two finally clash. Brother versus brother, metal on metal kind of thing situation. And then we just the Hell in a Cell was icing on the cake, because, like I said, I've already mentioned in previous ASF shows, retro ASF, when it was all in text, whenever there was a robotic person in a Hell in a Cell, they used to be able to do some crazy stuff, because obviously they're robots and not human-like or whatever. So we can make them do crazy stuff, and I just wanted a repeat performance of that, and so I said, let's make this match Hell in a Cell. It works, I suppose, and just makes the night that much more, and it's going to be our first Hell in a Cell ever to call. We had a lot of firsts here in this event. Yes, it was a good test to see how good we'd be calling every individual kind of match, from the KO match and the First Blood match to this big, huge ladder match, even though we've had those already. But now we've got a storyline involved in it as well, instead of just here's some guys fighting for the Money in the Bank. It was definitely a night of firsts, and trying to find our mark and our comfort zones of what we liked calling the most. And this was definitely one we liked calling the most. I think we definitely upped our game when it came to calling this show, this match in particular. We felt really comfortable calling this because the pacing and everything just worked. And we could do all kinds of setup stuff, and we just loved it. And all the suspense, and we were doing a really good job of that, if I say so myself. So I'm not speaking for your half. I don't know how you felt, but I think we both came out feeling really positive after that, calling that match. Yeah, I did. It was definitely a match to call, and we could really push the envelope of what we could do in terms of our progression as commentators. So it was good on that level as well. So yeah, first ever Hell in a Cell match in the ASF, and I wanted to replicate the madness of having robots in the Hell in a Cell and what they could do. So like I said, have as many spots as possible everywhere, going through the announce table and going through the roof. I think we did 2 spots for the going through the roof, which is a one and only, because we've never done a Hell in a Cell match where we've done 2 roof breaks in one. because the next Hell in a Cell match from this point, I believe, is Armageddon, which we only have one for. So yeah, I swear we've had another one before that point, but you might be right. We might have had it on just a TV show or something, one of the TV schedule designed shows like Raw or SmackDown. I think we might have, yeah, but we didn't do that much with it. We didn't even go on the roof, I don't think. Oh, we had that moment with the Shadow and Sonic, where we had the Hell in a Cell on Raw. Well, it was after Raw because we were selling it as a what do they call it? Unsanctioned match. So it was and then we had the cell low for some reason, and Chaos comes out and puts Shadow through the ceiling. But that's the only instance that we've had otherwise. But yeah, you're right. We've never had both panels breaking or two panels breaking. So yeah, I definitely believe you've set the tone of what robots can do in a Hell in a Cell, and you can go crazy, and you can have really a lot of fun with those kind of matches, and have fun making it, which is part of the purpose of doing this, is for the fun of it, as well as, well, I don't know, apart from amusing everyone with it. Yes, that's the side of it. Yeah, so it's all part of the fun of making it, and we had fun calling it, and I'm sure everyone had fun watching it. And just because they had this match doesn't mean the rivalry was over. It technically was over by Summer Strike when we had them in the Intercontinental Championship match. But that was just something for them to do because we needed them on the show, essentially. Because we wanted the momentum to keep after having this match to carry over into Summer Strike, and then they would go off on their own 2 feet because Knuckles would, Metal Knuckles, I should say, would go and do this, and Metal Sonic would go and do that, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I definitely set the bar high. It was like the first Hell in a Cell match the WWE had with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. I kind of wanted that kind of thing, like this is the measuring stick for all great Hell in a Cell matches. And even the Armageddon one, as much as I hyped the shit out of that, I don't think even matched the standard of the quality of this match. So yeah. It definitely is a torch bearer, you could say, that hasn't been handed over. I still regard this as the best Hell in a Cell match we've had in the whole season. Not even the one that ASIF, the people voted in for, was good. I actually hated that one. I really hated that one. But hey, that show was for the fans, not for us. But then again, if you say you hate the look of it, then other people are going to hate it. But hey, it's all matter of perspective, I should say. Perspection, that's not a word. If it is, you've just invented it. Congratulations. So yeah, but this is definitely, in my view, the best Hell in a Cell match the ASF has had since that point. Because there was just so much we had to do. And we did it, and it went really well. I'm not sure how many times it took to record this match, but it wasn't a lot. Otherwise, it went rather well. In terms of what I needed to happen and what I wanted to happen and all the madness going on, and here's a tombstone through the cell. There you go. Oh, there's the end of the video. There's not going to be much left. So yeah, how long is this part? Yeah, only about 3 minutes. Okay. So, well, that's good because we've talked about, luckily, all we needed to talk about in this cell match. Just the fact that it definitely made us feel more comfortable with our positions. And the commentary does get a little bit better after this. I mean, you certainly start seeing it change compared to what it was for Judgment Day and King of the Ring and Backlash. You know, if you can ever find those shows anywhere on the internet. Certainly for Backlash. Judgment Day. You just have to look at some of the first shows I did for the channel, because that's where it starts. But yeah, it's definitely better from that standpoint. And then it got better after Summer Strike, and then it got really good after Armageddon came around, which is when we were just like, yeah, we're at the height of our power now, but I still feel we can stretch the envelope and really give it our all for when ASIF comes around and No Way Out and the Mascot Rumble and of course Mascot Mania, and we're both going into that very comfortable, feeling like we can certainly do it. We're still doing the one night only shows and making them like their big events and shows and putting on good matches for those events. So that's all the more reason to continue voting. For what you want, because we'll try and make it the best show possible, and that's a guarantee. Well, he will. I don't know about me. How are you? He's just saying that, don't believe him. I think this is the end of the match. It's Tombstone. Here we go. What an ending to a spectacular Hell in a Cell that we didn't get to entirely see, but hey, the big stuff that happened we got to see at least in that footage, if you were watching it. Yeah, that was, I definitely agree with you, one of the best Cell matches for this show. And who knows, at some point, hopefully, we'll get another one that's just as good. But anyway, I think we can say adios amigos. Thanks you all for listening or watching or both. A few more stories being spilled out and information about what was going on with the ASF and how we made everything and put everything together. And what was going on in our minds and everything, and just whatever was on our mind at the time. And next up will be Vengeance, which will be coming next weekend. So yeah, don't miss out on that. It's definitely that was our first event that was really hyped up, certainly for Astroth versus Sonic. There's the end of the video, so I'll wrap it up now. But yeah, that's all coming up. So yeah, Vengeance next weekend, and don't forget to vote. I'll definitely put a link in the description for those that can't find it or don't know where to find it or whatever. But it is on the ASF forum, all the information there. But I will supply a link in the description, so look out for that and stick my words to it. I will put it in. Okay, right. That's enough said. So I can say goodbye for now, and Eggman can say goodbye. Goodbye. And we'll see you for behind the scenes of Vengeance. See you later.